Hello and welcome to a new video. I'm Fuchstanz or Lilith and I'm glad you're here. Today's illustration for once isn't acrylic, nor is it gouache. Like I mentioned in my last video, I really wanted to give watercolor another try, or just break out of the rhythm I had going on with just using one type of media. And so today I decided to do watercolor. I used like regular ones and Dr. P.H. Martin's liquid radiant concentrated watercolor ink, just for some of the details that I wanted to be really bright, like the pink and yellow that you'll see later. But yeah, it was fun to try something different for once. I've been really feeling burnt out lately, just emotionally, and just I'm not feeling well, let's just put it that way. It has been a hard few weeks, I guess, and overcoming certain troubles I'm having is quite the toll on my mental state right now, so doing something different for once with my art felt like a little break, even though throughout this piece I wasn't really too happy with where it was going. I think I imagined something different with the color story I was going for, but I decided to go against that and just go with the flow and see however this would turn out. And in the end, I don't think it's too bad. Like, the colors are not my usual story that I would use, so it feels a little bit weird, but I think they all match well together and they look really good in the end product, so I can't be too bothered about it. When I was doing the nose, I tried to do some gradient, but initially I put on way too much color, so I tried to pick it up again with a tissue. As you can see, I wet the already painted area a little bit and just lifted with the tissue, and it worked fine enough. I think it looks okay, but yeah, that's a tip from me. If you're not really happy with how the colors lay down, just get a tissue, wet the area, and just lift the color off of it if the watercolor obviously isn't too staining. If it stains a lot, I'm imagining you'll have a lot more trouble picking it up again, but I mean, usually you wouldn't have a problem, especially if you just put the color down. So about the motif I chose for this one, I think because I've been going through a lot, I think I feel like a clown a lot of the times with what had happened and how I treated myself and didn't respect myself enough. So Sometimes I would feel like this huge clown in my own life, not knowing where I was going and just fucking around essentially. But also on the other hand, with all that has come and gone, sometimes you believe in a little bit of fate, or that things are going to go the way they're supposed to go, and that the whole universe has a plan for you, so everything that happens for a reason. So I wanted to symbolize that with the red thread of fate around the pinky of the clown that is going outside of the frame, just showing the fate that you always carry with you, and that it all makes sense in the end, and that your struggles and your pain essentially have meaning in the bigger picture. Like, you're not going through all of this pain to get broken down by life, because life isn't fair, and what you experience sometimes just isn't fair, and it sucks, and you don't have to find the good in those things. Just, I think for your own sanity, it's better to see how you improve from that and how you've grown. You can still be mad about all the shit that happened, and you can be pissed about what you've gone through, because mostly it will be unfair. But to not find the good in it is kind of sad to me, because you gotta move on, and moving on means finding strength in yourself. So that's the way I wanted to symbolize this whole convoluted mess into an illustration, and I hope it makes sense somewhat what I'm trying to say. I'm not the best with my own words, so yeah, I hope it resonates with you if you have experienced something similar. With the hat and the outfit, essentially, I was going into the liquid watercolor now, because I just wanted it to be very bright, and the pinks I have in my watercolor set that are solid are just not that pink. Only if I would use opera pink, but that wasn't really the pink I was looking for. I wanted it to be a soft, bright pink, which I know I had in the liquid watercolors, so that's what you're seeing right now. Also, for the red parts in this illustration, I used the liquid watercolor, just again out of convenience, and because I really like this red I'm having, and I think you can get a very nice wash down with the watercolor inks, or liquid watercolors, they're not inks, but yeah. So that was more of a convenience thing with the red, but I like how it turned out. I liked how easy this piece was to color, because it dries really fast and you don't need a lot of layers to make it look very good, and it's not supposed to be opaque, so leaving white bits of paper there just makes the illustration look better in my opinion. So I really like working with watercolor when I want to do a quick and easy painting. And yeah, this piece really gave me that. It didn't feel like a whole ordeal, a whole process that took me hours. I mean, in the end it took me hours, but not like super long. Like for example, the tiger illustration I did for New Year's took me a lot longer, and it was more hard to get across or just to work on, because I didn't want to mess up, and it was just an important piece to me. Not that this isn't, but for the technique I think it's a bit easier to work with watercolor, but also mostly because I'm a lot more used to it. I've been using watercolor ever since I was, I don't know, like in elementary school, and so I always liked the medium, and that's always fun for me. For the background, I think it's really cool to watch how the paint dries and just leaves these little almost oil spill effects. I mixed two different liquid watercolors together, like a blue and a purple, and added some water in, and it just gave this lovely effect, almost like a galaxy oil spill kind of effect. And I really like how it turned out. It just gives it a little bit more texture and interest. For the red thread, I actually used some acrylic gouache because I just didn't want the thread to budge or just to move if I would go over it again. I made it a little bit too thick. I think I'm not really happy with the string essentially, but can't be undone now, so I guess it's here to stay. And the golden parts were also really fun to add, just because it's satisfying to watch the gold paint just go very smoothly and opaque, and you don't have to do second coats, it just works, and it's just a satisfying process to make certain parts shiny, and it gets my gremlin brain going. I was using 2 different pens for the outline. I was using a really fine Muji Gel Pen, but also this big biro. The problem with using biro pens is that sometimes when you lay down your hand, you'll pick up some of the not dried ink, and it can stain the piece if you essentially stamp your hand down, and it just replicates what's on your hand. And I'm glad I didn't mess it up too much. I think at a certain point I did actually stamp my hand down, but I think I noticed, so I was more cautious about where I was putting my hands. I mean, you could always put down a piece of paper or a tissue to cover your hand and it won't smudge then, but alas, I didn't think of that, or at least I didn't do it. But lining this piece was fun because it just pulled it all together and made it more dramatic and more put together. The final part, as always, was adding the white, and I enjoyed doing the little sparkles in the background to kind of symbolize a new beginning and that you have your life in your hands, and it can all be magical if you let it. And there's always some magic to be found in your own life, and I just wanted to symbolize it with that. And with the peeling of the tape, I'm done with this illustration. I hope you liked the process of this, and I hope my backstory for this motif made sense to at least some of you. If you want, you can leave a comment about it and leave a like. As always, subscribe, I would really appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next video, and I'll just leave you with the detail shot for now, and I'm saying thank you. Bye bye.